Just when we thought that we were done talking about celebrity breakups or the messiness involving these celebrity divorces, the Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner divorce is getting ugly because she has now sued him. He's responding to the lawsuit. She's accusing him of abducting their children. And according to the court documents, Sophie was blindsided by this divorce. She found out about him filing for divorce through us, the media. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So it's been a while since we talked about the Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner divorce, but now it's getting ugly. And apparently, it's not exactly what we thought it originally was about these two and why they broke up. Well, Sophie has filed legal documents because she believes that Joe is withholding the children's passport, although they had agreed to raise the children in the UK. Well, now that they're getting divorced, I can see Nick might not want to do that anymore. So this is what's being reported right now in regards to this divorce. So Sophie Turner is at war with Joe Jonas over their two kids. She says that Joe is unlawfully keeping their children in New York City and she wants them, quote, returned to England with her. Sophie says in April of 2023, the family made England their, quote, permanent home and regularly discussed their desire to raise the kids in the UK and for the kids to attend school there. She says that they felt England was a safe place for the kids, and they both were down with the plan. She had a lengthy passage in her legal documents outlining all the activities in which the kids have engaged in England. She says with some hesitation, she and Joe agreed that the kids would stay with Joe while the Jonas brothers toured the United States because she was busy shooting a, quote, very intense, time-consuming series. Sophie says the agreement was that in September, when she finished filming, she would return to New York to collect the children and return home to England. So this past Sunday, Sophie and Joe met to talk about their separation, and she reiterated her desire to take the kids to England that week. Joe was in possession of the kids' passports and, quote, refused to return the passports to the mother and refuses to send the children home to England with the mother. The Messenger was the first to report on Sophie Turner's lawsuit. Based on Joe's alleged refusal, she filed these legal documents in federal court citing the Hague Convention, an international treaty which deals with child abduction across country lines. So Sophie is asking for a court order demanding that Joe produce the passports and return the kids to her. So you may recall when we initially reported on this story from TMZ, they had reported that the two had sold their Miami home last month and were planning to move to England, beginning their search for a spot overseas last December, touring a couple of spots as well. Sophie argues that they've been living in the UK for 5 months now and even sold their Miami home the month before he filed. But here's some more tea in regards to why they may have split. So Sophie gets into why they split. She says that they had an argument in August 15th specifically, and Joe filed for divorce September 1st. She found out September 5th through the media. She adds that they have both agreed that the kids would follow her to England in September, but on September 19th, Joe's attorney contacted her people and said the kids would not be returning to England. So now Joe Jonas is speaking out in regards to this whole situation. And this is an exclusive statement made to TMZ. So according to TMZ, they said Joe's rep just issued a lengthy statement in response to Sophie's claim Joe has abducted their kids by refusing to hand over their passports so that they can return to England per their agreement. This was Joe's statement, okay? So attributed to a representative for Joe Jonas. They said after multiple conversations with Sophie, Joe initiated divorce proceedings in Florida, as Florida is the appropriate jurisdiction for the case. Sophie was aware that Joe was going to file for divorce, so he's counteracting her claims that she was blindsided. The Florida court has already entered in an order that restricts both parents from relocating the children. Sophie was served with this order on September 6th of this year, more than 2 weeks ago. Joe and Sophie had a cordial meeting this past Sunday in New York when Sophie came to New York to be with the kids. They have been with her since that meeting. Joe's impression of the meeting was that they had reached an understanding that they would work together towards an amicable co-parenting setup. Less than 24 hours later, Sophie advised that she wanted to take the children permanently to the UK. Thereafter, she demanded via this filing that Joe hand over the children's passports so that she could take them out of the country immediately. If he complies, Joe will be in violation of the Florida court order. Joe is seeking shared parenting with the kids so that they are raised both by their mother and father, and is of course also okay with the kids being raised both in the US and UK. The children were born in the US and have spent the vast majority of their lives in the US. They are American citizens. They continue, they said, this is an unfortunate legal disagreement about a marriage that is sadly ending. When language like abduction is used, it is misleading at best and a serious abuse of the legal system at worst. The children were not abducted after being in Joe's care for the past 3 months at the agreement of both parties. The children are currently with their mother. Sophie is making this claim only to move the divorce proceedings to the UK and to remove the children from the US permanently. Joe has already disavowed any and all statements purportedly made on his behalf that were disparaging of Sophie, because there have been all kinds of rumors as to how this all went down, that she was cheating on him, that something was caught on the ring cam. Just updating you. He says they were made without his approval and are not consistent with his views. His wish is that Sophie reconsider her harsh legal position and move forward in a more constructive and private manner. His only concern is the well-being of his children. Here's the thing, y'all. He hired a good attorney because the way that this was laid out, if they're laying these same things in court, Joe might do very well in regards to this. We don't know what went on between these two in their relationship. I already told you when we initially reported on this, I'm not surprised that this relationship is over. She was quite young. She had babies very early. I wasn't surprised that this relationship was over. However, I am surprised at the turn of events that is getting messy. But based on what both sides are saying, how does this work? Like, what would they decide? Will she be forced to have the kids live here? The kids are very young. He says they've lived most of their lives here in the United States. Well, they're like 3 years old and like they're young. So they don't have much lives that have been lived. However, something went wrong in this relationship and now people are getting petty. I really do hope for the sake of the children that they do find some sort of common ground, no matter how they feel about each other or how nasty this has gotten. And I do agree that using words like abduction in court filings and things like that is a big deal. Not saying that what she's saying is not true, but that is a big deal. And I hope that she would not abuse the court system and use words like this if they weren't true. Guys, as always, we're going to keep you updated on this story. I want to know your thoughts. What do you believe? What do you think? Let's continue this conversation there. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.
You bring the lighter, I got the fuse.